Soundhound AI released their latest earnings report. Stock is up 15% at the time of making this video. Now, they did beat revenue and EPS estimates. They said business momentum continues to accelerate and more. Right now, before they reported their earnings, was a market cap of $1.54 billion with EV to sales in the next 12 months of 22.3 times. Of course, down from the 40 times back in March. Now, currently, the analyst estimates for this fiscal year and the next fiscal year is basically in line with their own guidance. So a 51% year-over-year growth for fiscal year 2024, meaning close to $70 million in revenue. And then the next year, another 47.8% year-over-year growth to $102.75 million, of course, still being unprofitable. And that's the whole thing here. Yes, it's true, they're growing quite fast with regards to revenue, but the numbers are still quite tiny. And although this is a company with $1.54 billion in market cap, I mean, EV to sales 22.3 times, even if they're growing that fast, is still quite expensive. And like we've seen in past videos, remember I covered this stock under $2, seemed like something interesting, of course, for those that bought it. I think you performed quite well, but there are some things in that report that still to me doesn't make much sense. Also the fact that, by the way, in the press release, they removed operating expenses, sales and marketing, G&A, R&D. It's not in the press release. I had to go and download a second document to look at everything, which who does that? That just doesn't make any sense. Anyways, there are some positives, but I'm still skeptical on a couple of things, especially with regards to the cumulative backlog and subscription metric, which is extremely deceiving. But more on that in just a second. If you enjoy this type of videos, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not. Would really appreciate that. If you want to support me even further, do check out the link down in the description and in the pinned comment to get the top 10 best stocks to buy now, or go to fool.com/couchinvestor. Thank you very much. So let's start off here with a couple of comments. So our first quarter sets the tone for 2024 as another year of strong growth for Soundhound. Voice AI is fast becoming a must-have tool for customer service, and that's reflected in the demand we're seeing for subscription. Okay, so when you're hearing this, you might think, whoa, they're probably growing like crazy quarter over quarter, right? You'll see. As an AI company, we combine over 20 plus years of technology innovation and billions of customers' interaction to create the best voice AI technology on the market. Better than Google, better than Amazon, better than all the other big tech companies who have tried for a long, long time, but apparently this tiny company can do it much better. This is one of the bearish points, which I obviously agree with. Now, with regards to the other metrics, so revenue for this quarter came in at $11.6 million, an increase of 73% year over year. That's great. Last quarter, revenue came in at $17.1 million. So yeah, for a company that has a lot of momentum, apparently, quarter over quarter, revenue is much less. Now, I'll give them that. Q1 is usually a slower quarter. But still, we've seen with other companies, even though one quarter is slower than the other, if you have that momentum, it doesn't really matter. You're going to continue to grow even quarter over quarter. Here, it's quite a big decrease quarter over quarter. Then, GAAP gross margin for this quarter, 60%. Non-GAAP gross margin, 66%. Last quarter, we sat at 77%. And like I said, still, of course, far from being profitable. So GAAP earnings per share was a loss of 12 cents, non-GAAP a loss of 7 cents. And you guessed it, last quarter was a bit better, right? So fourth quarter earnings per share was a net loss of 7 cents compared to 15 cents a year beforehand. Then adjusted EBITDA, a loss here of $15.4 million. And before we go and look at the subscription and backlog, if we look here at operating expenses, cost of revenue increased year over year by quite a lot. Sales and marketing increased year over year. R&D increased a little bit, but not by much. G&A increased. They had a change in fair value of contingent acquisition liabilities, amortization of intangible assets. Basically, total operating expenses increased year over year as well, and so did loss from operations. And so if we look at the cumulative subscription and bookings backlog, customer metric was $682 million and grew by approximately 80% year over year, which of course tremendous growth year over year. There is also a small growth quarter over quarter. Last quarter that was 661 million. So basically they added $21 million to that cumulative subscription and bookings backlog metric. Now, for those that don't know what this means, we can scroll down here and they basically explain it. Subscriptions backlog refer to potential revenue achievable for the company with current customers where the company is the leading or exclusive provider and assuming a 4-year ramp up during which time our technologies are being implemented and assuming a successful full rollout of our technologies over a total 5-year duration, which basically means nothing here is certain. That can be that suddenly one of their customers are saying, look, we found something better. And then suddenly that metric subscription backlog gets slashed. Could be. This is why I said this is quite deceiving. Anyways, continuing here, they say their business momentum continues to accelerate with a growing pipeline across all businesses, which of course means that their outlook will be raised. More on that in just a second. The company closed the acquisition of Sync3 in the quarter. The combination creates the largest voice AI provided for restaurants with over 10,000 active locations. They made some announcements here with regards to the restaurant business, with regards to the automotive business as well. We've talked about that in past videos. Some other partnerships, more recently, Soundhound partnered with Perplexity to bring cutting-edge online LLMs to Soundhound Chat AI. This will expand the type and complexity of the questions the assistant is able to answer across phone, cars, and IoT devices. And so, overall, you can basically see here, great, revenue increased 73% year over year, amazing. GAAP gross profit increased 46% year over year. Non-GAAP gross profit increased 57% year over year, but GAAP gross margin down 10.8 percentage points. Non-GAAP gross margin down 6.8 percentage points. GAAP operating loss down 13%. Non-GAAP adjusted EBITDA down 3%. GAAP net loss down 20%. Non-GAAP net loss down 16%. GAAP net loss per share, positive change of 2 cents. Non-GAAP net loss per share, positive change of 1 cent. And so a GAAP net loss of $33 million this quarter, knowing that the company's total cash for this quarter ending was $226 million. I mean, it's quite certain in my opinion, or it's quite probable, I should say, because nothing is certain, but it's quite probable that they're probably going to raise more cash in the future and therefore dilute existing shareholders. And so if we look at the business outlook, Soundhound updates full year 2024 revenue outlook to be in the range of $65 to $77 million. Now you might say, interesting, they say update. So how big of an update is that? Well, actually, the previous one was 63 to 77. So they basically raised the lower end by $2 million. Again, for a company that says that they have a lot of momentum, that more specifically here, business momentum continues to accelerate with a growing pipeline across all businesses, you would have probably expected this quarter and outlook to be a bit higher, right? But then again, the market is probably not looking for much right now. They see this amazing growth year over year. They see that they have more cash, of course, because they did raise some cash. So they got now an extended lifeline. How long will that last remains to be seen. And so right now, this is the graph. Remember, we made videos alerting people about the insane valuation it had here above $8, even above $7 or so. Lots of you appreciated that. So hopefully it saves you some money. But I mean, right now in the last couple of weeks, it did rebound quite nicely at the 200-day moving average. Always a pretty good sign. Right now we sit above the 20 and the 50-day moving average. That was before they reported earnings. But now, of course, up another 15%. So we're back over $5.40. So overall, highlight numbers, good year-over-year growth for this company. Quarter over quarter, probably not that much. Profitability side of the business is not really improving that much. Their huge momentum is nowhere to be seen, to be honest, even though we get a small update to full year guidance. You would have thought that it would be a bit bigger. In my opinion, the bearish points here with regards to them saying that their tech is the best of the best, in my opinion, just doesn't make much sense, right? When you have those big tech companies that also provide these voice AI products, they didn't make this a multi-billion-dollar business. So why suddenly would a company like Soundhound AI be able to achieve that? Some will say, yeah, but why did NVIDIA invest in that? NVIDIA's investment in Soundhound AI, it's basically peanuts compared to what NVIDIA is worth. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. They wouldn't care. Again, just because NVIDIA invested in it doesn't mean that you have to invest in that. You have to look at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie, even sometimes they are a bit deceiving. So that will be it for this video. Of course, do share your thoughts down in the comment section below. Probably a great stock to trade up and down, as you could probably see in the last couple of months. If you traded that, I think you've made quite some good returns. But of course, do share your thoughts down in the comment section below. If you enjoy this type of videos, leave it a thumbs up, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.